So feel free here. I see people from Asia Pac, not exactly knowing from where, but he's active in the IHE community in a large health information exchange project in Japan, in US. There are lots in Europe, in England actually, where Virgin Media took over the ownership and does something here. So after his presentation, just asking, what is the status in your country? Why something is not working? He's a guy, he can make it, and he can explain it to you. Martin, so the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Till, for the warm welcome. Thank you for the invitation. So just try to give you some words about the international activities in regard of health information exchanges. And yeah, let's start. To Tiani Spirit, we, as a former company, we were in the PACS field, so medical imaging. I'm doing this in person now since 1989. The technology itself is now available with Agfa Healthcare. So then I started 2004, the Tiani Spirit story. It was everything about building up software infrastructure components for a real interoperability based on IHE, let's say electronic health record and health information exchange. Of course, I'm also in some standardization groups. I was also in EPSOS in the steering group. We're doing some contribution to other working groups in US and also in the European community. We're spread it a little bit around the world. Some flags are missing because we started also an initiative in Japan. Started in Europe, of course. I'm coming from Austria, so Austria is, I think, quite well developed. As Vedran mentioned before, Austria is a little bit smaller than Germany, of course. It's around 8 million people, but you can really build up the whole system in the right structure. So we have different affinity domains, different communities, provinces like Lower Austria, Upper Austria, Carinthia, Styria, and so on. And so we are collecting them at the end. Everything is based on strictly on IHE, and every healthcare application has to be IHE compliant. That was the tricky part. We worked out this with the government in Austria, that if we are not really bring up a kind of guidance or guideline for the country itself, then it will not work out well. So the basic idea was really 2007, 2008 to really make a statement from the government to say, okay, every healthcare application has to be IHE compliant at the end. Otherwise, you will not really achieve interoperability in a shorter period of time. So we reached out also to UK, to US, but therefore I will later on a little bit explain what we are doing. If we look to interoperability itself, interoperability, of course, is like 35 years ago. If you look to the internet, we are not having two internets. Yeah? We are just using one internet. Yeah? And for a company like Cisco, it's like a déjà vu. 35 years ago, Cisco didn't invent the internet. Yeah? Cisco built products around TCP/IP. Yeah? Routers, switches, of course nowadays since 5 years also server components. And Cisco of course is doing a big transformation now in the acronym IoT of Things, or IoT, Internet of Everything. So IoT, Cisco is doing a real transformation now, and this is for Cisco of course a kind of déjà vu, just another layer, because we are now talking about an application layer like IHE. It's on top of the TCP/IP layer, layer 3. So this is, I think, good and a logic way to build up interoperability. Beside that, we started last year a huge initiative. It's called Grapevine. You know, in the US, as Thiel mentioned, they started with a meaningful use activity. Unfortunately, many, let's say, customers or vendors, they took the money and then they run. So it was a little bit the tricky way to grab the money. And many projects, unfortunately, they failed. So we started an initiative now with partners, with the ecosystem and Cisco, to start an initiative. It's called Grapevine. It's a spreaded backbone. It's strictly based on IHE, and really to try to collect all let's say, the health information exchanges, and also the connection to the existing information systems, like an electronic health record system or an EMR system. Grapevine is really used to exchange the information in the next, let's say, 10 years. And we are pushing the Grapevine initiative worldwide, because our feeling is, based on our experience with IHE, is that it is the right approach to achieve real interoperability. Why is the standardization so important? Of course, if you set up a project, then you can do it with proven components, or you can start to develop from scratch, of course, your solution. The problem is if you do that, and you start to develop now a solution, then you know exactly what will happen. Most of the projects are ending up in a mess, because the money is gone. At the end, you have no solution, and you're covering nothing. From a political perspective, it's also really very strange, I would say, because of course, as a customer, you put in a lot of money, and then at the end, you have no solution. Versus you're using proven components. They are really tested twice or 3 times a year. We are doing this now at the Connected Zones in US, in Europe, and in Japan too. So we're really trying to achieve interoperability itself in a real way. Very important is, with this methodology, that you're at the end, you're able to replace components. So you have to find a way that you're not really, from a customer perspective, that you're not really locked. If you're in a lock-in situation, and most of the CIOs worldwide, they try just to keep the system running. Yeah? They, of course, they're using a big budget, and then at the end they're locked into the system, so they're not able. They have no freedom. They have to keep the system running, and that's the issue. They have no time for other projects too. If you are doing a comparison now with the integration approach versus a development approach, it's not just money. We are talking, if you look to the Gartner study, 54% of the whole IT budget worldwide is used just for interfaces. It's crazy, yeah. It's really crazy, yeah, because what you're trying is, and you know that, you're using communication server, try to connect all the pieces, but at the end, if you want to build up a platform, a kind of backbone where you're able to provide the data now with the access control for other organizations too, then you're in a dead end. And that's the point now. It's at the moment, most of the systems are stucking, yeah, because they are not more able to extend their system in a way that you're able really to exchange information to other organizations too. And even you put in a lot of money, or you give it let's say you get the system, some vendors, they're giving the system for free, it doesn't help, because if you look to the time scale, if you're not ready in between at least 2 years, yeah, then you have no political success. And as a customer and as a politician, of course, you want to go to the stage and you want to present the success to the audience, yeah? And that's the issue. the issue, you're running away. You try to keep, let's say, somehow the political environment happy, but at the end you will fail. And beside that, this is let's say a real, I think maybe a bigger issue than the money itself. What you're doing is connectodons. I'm pretty sure that many people are knowing this already, but some of you maybe not. It's a LAN party where the name connectodon means it's a marathon, an interface marathon. Technicians are really sitting together in a good mood, and they try to test their system and exchange information based on specifications. The specifications itself are really open. We are not talking about a closed community. So that means everybody is able to get access through the internet to the specification. Every company is able to do that. Every company is able to read the specification without any money. It's just about to implement the stuff, yeah? And that's, of course, the key of interoperability. We're not just talking about the US. If you look, also that's a screenshot from the Connectodon in Japan. It's very interesting for me because, you know, every country has their own culture. And if you look to the Asian market and you go to Japan, for me, of course, I'm not able to speak fluently the Japanese language. It's just a joke, okay? But what's possible is that you really use IHE as a language. You're really able to share information between technicians. So technicians are sitting there, developers, and you're able really, based on IHE, that you really live interoperability in a good mood. If you look to the solution itself, it's very robust. It's well known in many countries. Cisco, together with Tiani, is reaching out to real bigger regions and nations. We are not just doing integration or in a hospital itself. Of course, you can buy this solution and product also for just a hospital or a connection between a GP office and a specialist. But in reality, we are very often in use in bigger regions like Lower Austria or Austria itself as a country, Slovenia, Switzerland, and as I said before, also Grapevine. In England, we are running the whole initiative together with Virgin and the NHS. And so what we're trying there in a disruptive way, similar like the US, we try to collect a little bit all the failed projects and try just to get it done. The approach is very interesting. We're not just talking about interoperability in the country itself. So if you see now the arrows here, so we are also able to exchange information between the US and Europe and other countries worldwide and continents. So this is, I think, also a good move. And it's not just depending, as I said before, on Cisco and Tiani itself. We are able really to connect every IHE compliant health information exchange. The masterpiece of the whole activity was, pretty sure, the EPSOS project. EPSOS was the connection between many member states in Europe. It was a use case for exchanging a patient summary, the prescription and the dispense. So as a citizen, you were able to go to a foreign country and you're going to the pharmacy and then you're asking for the medicine. Yeah? And then you're getting, based on the prescription, you're getting the same medication with the same ingredients. So that was a really quite nice project, and we learned a lot, also not just in case of syntactical interoperability, it was also all about the semantical interoperability, and that was brought us a really good experience. On top, the European community at the moment is running a project that's called eSense, why eSense? eSense brings all the large-scale projects in Europe together, and we are sitting also in the working groups to try to define also the protocols between the different verticals. What is the European community doing? They are running the project Digital Europe 2020, and they are choosing, of course, a common layer now to really connect all the different verticals. As Thiel mentioned before, Jean-Claude Juncker, as president himself, he gave the clearance last year that in every public procurement you should use the recommendation of integrating the healthcare enterprise, the profiles, and it's very interesting. It's not just a recommendation for IHE. There were put 27 profiles from IHE, every software infrastructure components into this recommendation. So that's an easy way really to connect at the end all countries in Europe. So we are moving a little bit from IHE, from the wording, from the acronym integrating the healthcare enterprise, to a new acronym integrating the heterogeneous enterprise, because we are reaching out to other verticals too. Cisco, of course, is providing the backbone, and if you look to this picture, we are not here to replace existing information systems. What we are doing is we try just to connect the existing systems. So please don't see us as a replacer now from a monolithic approach. We are not here to replace the existing world landscape with our solution. We are just here to provide the right backbone with the right interoperability layer that you're able to exchange information of course, in the right way. What we are doing with Apple, it's the same story. Apple is a big part of Cisco, and they announced, let's say, a global collaboration between Cisco and Apple 2015. Why Apple? If you look to the Health app, and everybody knows the Health app, yeah, and you look to the Apple Watch, yeah, it's you're able to transfer the data from the Apple Watch to the standardized backbone through the Health Kit, and vice versa. Is a bidirectional way. So that means you're really able to get the information out of the backbone for your Health app. So the beauty in this solution is that you're not really forced to use another app, so you can use still your Health app and getting the data like a cholesterol and so on, all the values, to your Health app based on a standardized interface. What's the beauty now for Apple? The beauty is that Apple, with the Health Kit implementation at the moment, of course, is forced to go to every information systems provider, give them the Health Kit interface, and please implement the Health Kit API. So with this approach, it's much more easier because you have to implement or connect just once Apple to the backbone, and the backbone itself is already connected to every information system. Thank you very much. It was a short overview about the activities of Tiani and Cisco together with the whole ecosystem. I have to mention also many companies, of course, all our partners. Also Parsec, welcome, because they are working as a good partnership with them. So we really try to work in a huge ecosystem just to achieve real interoperability globally. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, and I hope and I'm sure that there's some question. But first of all, I'm happy that you mentioned the solution, because normally we know you as an evangelist for IHE, and you're pushing this over so many years. And here, back on stage, there on the booth, you can see the solution, how we integrate a care kit, how we integrate the sensor, how this is actually looking like in an eco-community, like Martin mentioned, with other companies. But this is a solution. It's not just a vision.